Hello and welcome to Mad Notions.
Is it upside down again?
You know, you're. It might seem like a severe flaw in the note taking process would be that you can't even tell if they're upside down or not.
So, because I used this book for I needed to make some notes very quickly when we were recording the pilot, and I didn't realize that I'd lifted it and put it upside down. So half the book is.
It's a serious notebook, like.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Can I tell you a really funny story, just where I don't come off looking really well, just real quick?
Get it out of the road.
There was a lad. So, well, two things happened, right? So I was playing Dirty Under the other week, and this didn't really involve me, actually, which is why I feel like it doesn't break the rule I set last week, which is, so there was.
So sorry, just before you go any further, you said you don't come off well in this story.
Well, one bit of it I don't,
yeah.
But it was brief. It was
as opposed to all the other stories where you come off like
a hero.
You know, you're carried out of the room and people's shoulders.
Warning: I won't be the hero in this. I know most of you are used to me coming away looking really, really well. No, so there was these two girls dancing, and this guy was walking past, and he had a black eye. He had a really bad black eye. He looked like somebody had really, really had a go on him. It was very, very densely populated Dirty Onion, and he was walking past. And so just like if I'm looking here, they were just at my like 10 or 11 o'clock, and they were like immediately in front of me, and they were dancing or just chatting kind of stuff, and there was like two other girls that were with them that kept kind of coming back and forward getting drinks in the bar. Anyway, an altercation occurs between the guy that's passing with the black eye and the two girls. And he is like, I would love to know your thoughts on this now, by the way, as well, because I had a chat with the girl who's part of the door staff. I
hate when people say that to me, because then you always feel obliged to give them.
Damn it!
Even if you have no thoughts.
But so don't never underestimate my ability to be thinking nothing. But so there was an altercation. So from what I saw,
yeah,
because I couldn't hear anything, because obviously I have a monitor pointing at me, it's very loud. Something happens, you can't see what happens, but all I see, so the beginning of it for me, from my point of view, is he just starts he's screaming in their face.
Right.
He's like, fuck you, fucking whatever. I have no idea what's after causing it. So then I'm like, fuck, looks like this boy is trying to add to the collection here. And so and then some door staff come over and just they're like, hey, could you fucking whatever. I don't know if he leaves or he is asked to leave. He has a word with one of the girls on the door who's like standing by the stage by me. He leaves anyway. There's no like, he doesn't have to get like put out, but I don't know if he was leaving anyway. He was heading that direction to begin with, but anyway. So I then get to my break, and my glasses are so dirty. Oh my goodness. I get to my break and they're still there. So I was like, here, sorry, so what happened there? And so then they tell me, the way they tell me makes me feel like they think that they were completely blameless in this, which is a tough one, right? So, which I couldn't have seen, it turns out the guy was wearing a kilt. And when he was passing, one of them lifted up his kilt. And so that was what sparked the problem. Now, as a reaction to this, he said apparently some very unsavory things about them, which I imagine if somebody exposed your full penis in public, you may be likely to say. And so I was like, so what happened? And they were like, he was walking past and I fucking grabbed his kilt and he started being all rude and all because I exposed his full genitals in a public space. What's wrong with him, you know? Am I right? And then they were like, but that was still no need to call me a fucking ugly cunt and all. And I was like, well, I don't know though. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of going like, and so then I said to the girl on the door, and I was like, did you hear though? Because I thought that she had a word with them, but I was like, but did you hear, like what they did though? And she was like, yeah, but it's no reason to say that they're ugly. I was like, I'm finding it hard to be on the side here of the two girls because, like, you know, because she said that he made the point of like, well, if I was a girl and it was the other way around, or if it was the other way around and like some guy had like grabbed my dress and like lifted my dress, I dare say he would have left the bar, or well, his night would have probably ended with 4 bouncers on his back very quickly, like. But so I was caught in that unfortunate situation where like I thought that I was going over to be like, he's all right, whatever, and then they were like, yeah, well, basically we're terrible people, and I was like, oh, cool. But as I was talking to them, which is the bit where I come off looking really, really terrible, if I haven't already, I'm sure some of you have thought that I've already crossed that threshold, but that's okay. There was a load of like I think it was like one of the first weekends of the Six Nations this weekend, and there was a load of like rugby lads in who I was taking the piss out of quite a bit because they just kept going like, lads, we're out on a piss.
Sorry, digression. Would you rather be stuck in a pub full of rugger buggers or a pub full of football hooligans?
Oh, rugby lads.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% football.
Okay, not football hooligans.
Football lads are fightier.
Let's take it down a notch. Rugger bugger fans or just lads, football fans?
This feels a bit like the Lisbon Treaty in Ireland years ago, whenever they were given the initial opportunity to vote, and then the government were like, "Yeah, let's give you another go."
Yeah, you want to try that again?
Are you sure you like rugby, people? The rugby lads, I generally find, in my experience, are louder, but they're less hassle.
Right.
The football lads. And it's only like specific
or wiry, and you can't watch them like.
Yeah, they generally have their zips right up to here,
and are asking you for some oasis.
Yeah, the rugby lads generally are like seem like more like daddish, and more like we only get out once in a while, whereas the football lads are like, who is to blame for my team's loss, and how quickly can I cave their skull in? And that might be a broad sweeping generalization. But anyway, but one of them had kept like.
What about Guy? Would you rather be in a pub full of Guy
I'll say
heads?
nothing bad against the GA on this podcast, only because they're everywhere and they'll find me. No, but anyway, one of them. While I was talking to these girls, no, important. So no, wait. He comes up and says something to me, right? And I think that what I heard was, "Are you all right, Four Eyes?" Right.
Right.
And so this is while I was talking to these two girls, and so just very calmly.
Who came up and said that to you?
So I'm talking to these two girls about. Yeah. They're like, woe is me. I tried to expose a man's penis, and he got angry about it. And then just this other one of the rugby lads comes up to me.
Right.
And I think he says, "You all right, Four Eyes?" And so I just turned to him very calmly and goes, "You can fuck off and try that again there now." Right? And he went, "All right," and goes away and comes back very calmly and just goes, "Hey mate, sorry." But I immediately realised that he's got a Geordie accent, and I have misheard what he said initially, and he was just some really nice fella. And my reaction, my first thing I said to him was, "You can fuck off and try that again there if you like." And he did.
Oh my
and then
God.
I burst out laughing and was like, "Hang on a sec, what did you say there first initially?" And he goes, "I just said, you all right, mate?" And I goes, "How did I hear you all right, Four Eyes?" But I think he said, "Why I?" at me or something like that. So I just heard.
Did he come walking out of a fucking.
He was just like, "Why I, man?" I was like, "Fuck you off. You can use proper."
Yeah.
He heard like, "You can speak properly to me, you fucking scumbag."
Fuck off back to Baker Grove.
And I was like, "What is?" And you just. I couldn't understand. From his point of view, that like he came up and was like, "You're right, man." I was like, "You can fuck off."
I
back
bet you it was one of those things that it happened so quickly and so assertively that he didn't even really. It just didn't compute, and he just kind of did it.
Yeah, I was like, I guess I better try this again.
Yeah.
Lubricate the throat. But yeah, sorry, I just thought that was an fucking weird 3 minutes of my life from the weekend. But other than that, we have segments.
We do. Well, yeah, let's not rush into things here.
Can I ask you what I think is a question that's been bothering me all week?
Go.
What do you reckon the auditions to replace Bon Scott sounded like?
An almighty racket of a thing. Like.
I mean, they ended up with a good replacement. Brian Johnson is a good replacement. As you know, he's big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
But and obviously there would have been an expectation that they wanted that sort of a voice. They wanted that.
And with that voice and that kind of energy that you need to kind of deliver that voice comes, I would imagine, a fair few eccentricities.
Yes.
Especially around the time, the era and probably the locations of where they were searching. All these fucking boys strung out in LA just coming in and goldering the heads off the
But they ended up with Brian Johnson, who's a Geordie.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. But I just imagine like the amount of lads who must have went in and they were like just all sitting there, you know, with their clipboards, just like, whenever you're ready, mate. Highway to Hell. And he's like, no music, you know, like Simon, like fucking America's Got Talent style. Like they're all just sitting there. And he's like, my granny died today, but it's okay. You know, and then he just goes, no, do you know what? Fuck it. I'll see you later. And the amount of people who couldn't reach it, but were told by all their mates that they could reach it. And then the people who were like, I've been waiting for this opportunity for my whole life.
Then there's one burnout comes in with like some white guy with dreadlocks and a ukulele and does a nice wee melancholy version of it.
I'm on the highway to hell. Very good, not what we're looking for though. Sorry, mate. Fuck off.
Nathan, I don't know if you've seen, but I had one of my very many Mick's successful tweets at the weekend.
Oh, I noticed it was harder to tag you. Tell me, I missed it. Tell me about
Just a great idea that I had of a Joe Dolan biopic starring Paul Mescal. It really took off. People were keen. I think I could get investors.
When you say took off, what are the numbers we're talking about here? Are we saying more viral than Gary Branch?
No. It was modest. It's localized.
We'll never reach those heights again.
The interest is strictly kind of national.
Okay, well, as you'd imagine, for a story broadly
I don't
about
know.
a man
I just get you get that on Screen Ireland's radar.
Joe Dolan apparently was a big fan of wiping his sweat and flicking it at the front row of the audience.
My dad told me about the time Anthrax played in the GAA, and he's like, the cunts were spitting on the audience. That's not saying he wasn't there. He wasn't there. He's just recounting that. That's what he.
Third-hand information. Yeah. How was the gig? Well, they spat at me.
Whatever happened to ladies and gentlemen?
Telling you can't say that anymore. It's folks now. Right, folks.
I'm happy enough with that. As long as you're being polite, doesn't really matter.
That's my big axe to bear now. Is how am I ever going to get over this, folks? I feel like folks feels better on you.
Yeah. Or hi guys.
Hi. Spelled with an A in the middle. Hi. What are you gonna? Do you know enough about Joe Dolan to try and write it, or is your stake in it mainly just? Wouldn't it, like you're the guy who went into Dragon's Den now and is just like it'd be a good idea though.
Armed with a Wikipedia page,
Mick
is asking for $500,000.
I wonder if you is this going to be another one of these things where you Google it and someone has
someone's made it already.
Paul Mescal just replies and it's like, I'm sorry to actually say, Mick, but I've actually already done this.
Yeah. And you're not invited to the opening.
Are you a fan of Joe Dolan?
It's getting very, very late comer at it. So like,
I literally just know that one tune.
Yeah, Orla has been a big fan her whole life. Her and her ma went to see him and all.
That tracks.
But she didn't really ever push it. She just let me kind of find it of my own accord.
Do you reckon there was a discussion about it whenever you first came to the house?
What's that?
And her ma
don't scare him off.
Her ma was like, "Is he a fan of the Joe Show?" And Orla was like, "Mama, we've scared a lot of good men this way. He needs to find the Joe Show on his own."
It feels mad because like it's the sort of stuff I'm like, why? This feels like all that show band stuff, like my dad and ma loved, but there's never any of the music on in the house, weirdly. So I started listening. I listened to I was listening to like a best of the show bands Irish show bands compilation just to see what the crack was. It veers too close to Americana kind of country. Mm-hmm. and they're all singing with American accents.
Yeah.
Which really grates on me. But there's some interesting kind of classic songwriting stuff in there and some
hadn't-
nice recordings. But most of it is kind of.
We hadn't reached the heady heights of the pop world of the 21st century. If
But
only.
you hear that like the recording that Joe Dolan, Good Looking Woman, you know, and it's a fucking great. It's proper, you know, and the compilation opens with that, and then the rest of it, from songwriting
And
to
some other
production,
stuff.
is just like it's
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
those things. Remember you used to get those compilation CDs? There would be like
With the newspaper.
fucking 10 versions of like Leonard Cohen Essential, and
Yeah.
you get it in Asda for £3, and it'd all be just these weird outtakes and stuff.
Yeah. Aye.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of those. Yeah, but a lot of those compilations are sold really just like with the. Do you want this song though? On a CD and some other stuff that we are having trouble getting people to
Shifting,
buy in
yeah.
general. Yeah, I'd say there's some fucking cracker stories from the old show band days like that. It's a sitcom waiting to be made. Like
Yeah.
I made mine Pete actually was always saying that like he's just him and a couple of friends have said for years like that there's just like the amount of stories that they have from like old heads that are still like knocking about the country scene or whatever.
No, I'd love the show band thing would be a great fucking. There's
It'd be
ripe for story, Nathan.
a
Ripe
wealth-
for story.
a wealth of information. I also had another, I guess, leading off the Bon Scott thing. I remember that over Christmas, my parents and their absolutely terrible internet connection were watching on New Year's Eve. So I had that gig on New Year's Eve, and I came back to the house, and they had the Best of Glastonbury on the TV, but it was playing through one of those Android boxes, and they don't really have the internet connection for it. And so it was just playing so every 4 seconds it would pause for 1
Oh
second.
my god, that would drive me insane.
And they were watching it all night.
Oh my god, that would drive me so fucking insane.
And I was just like, why are you doing this to yourself? Like, even just
I
you.
think I'd get a nosebleed.
I immediately, so I sat down, there was a bit of dinner left in the pot. I was knackered after the day. And just fucking, you might hear a bit of drilling in the background here, sorry.
I believe that's Neil Campbell. He's working on a tree that he cut down and he's forming
Classic
into a
Neil.
bench.
Classic Neil. But there was a bit of dinner left in the pot, and then I sat down and was like, I'll just see how the folks are getting on for a minute here, and then because I was leaving the next morning, and then as soon as I started watching it, I think it lasted about 10 minutes. I was just like, I'm going to pack the car for the morning. But
I rang my ma yesterday just for a chat. I was out walking maybe, and it says, I'll ring my ma just to fucking, catch up. So she answers the phone. Well, Michael, is everything all right? That's what she always I'm like, when is that? Did I ever ring you in a panic? Like,
yeah.
and I was
What
like,
is
no,
it
just
now?
right, walking the dog, ringing to say hello, and I was kind of chatting her, and I could hear just like, and I was like, you're not interested at all. You're not listening at all. It's like, oh, we're just up in Jim and Pauline's here having a bit of dinner.
Just fucking tell me that then.
Aye, and I was
Yeah.
like, all right, you all right to chat? She's like, oh, aye. And then I chat away with words. She's like, and there's a delay. And I can hear the TV in the background. And I was like, are you sitting there just talking to me all four of yous all sitting watching TV? And yeah.
That really bothers me. Margaret does that a lot. Like, I'll ring her and I can hear the TV still on the background. Now, it's always Netflix or something that she could pause.
You can pause everything.
You can put, well, most things, I don't think we watch any real, and the stuff that in fact, yes, in our house now, you can pause literally everything. So there's no excuse to be in a room and the phone ring and you've decided to answer it. So pause the TV, And so she's burning her way through Desperate Housewives now again. And just you alright?
That was your vape. I
Yeah,
thought it was
yeah,
the
yeah.
heater. I thought it was Nanny's heater here.
No. But and she'll be like, and she's really bad at for someone who forgets that I spend so much time in her company watching her do this unsuccessfully to other people. She forgets that I know exactly what it sounds like when she's not listening on the phone. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She's wild when her ma will call her, right? And she so right, set the scene. We're sitting watching TV. Her ma phones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she'll open the phone and go, "Oh hey, yeah, you all right?" And straight away, as if just habit, just phone into the hand on the loudspeaker. She mutes her own microphone. And she just goes, she doesn't know, sorry. She doesn't do that. If she needs to talk to me, she'll mute it. Her mom will be chatting away and she'll be like, what? I don't know, I couldn't. Her mom's still chatting away, and I'm just like, what are you doing? And so then, she'll be scrolling, and you look over her shoulder, she's just on Amazon. And she's just like, Uh-huh. Aye. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And every now and again she'll catch her out with a question, you know. What was it? Sorry, Nathan was saying something to me there. I'm like, I wasn't fucking saying that. But so then, like, I'll phone her.
Her man's like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
He never shuts up.
That makes sense. He probably was talking classic. But I'll bring her on the way back from a gig or something and just be like, do you need me to grab on in the shop on the way back or something? And she'd be like, she'd be just after like sending me a message saying like, oh, really miss you. Can't wait to see you later or something, you know, something real sweet. And you're like, oh, I'll give her a wee phone here. And then like 5 minutes later, well, you all right? Hi. Any crack? No. You? Nope. Just driving home here. Cool. Well, you can hear the TV in the background. Like, I'll see it in a wee. Are you watching something? Uh huh. You couldn't pause it, no. Oh, I didn't know how long you were going to be. You're just like, oh man.
Here, I have to say, for Margaret, I know that feeling.
That's rude. That's rude. I need to come back to my Glastonbury story. Sorry, that wasn't the end of it. But
I don't even remember when were you talking about Glastonbury?
I was leading to something.
Oh yes, that's right.
I'll get back to it. But the other day as well, right? I have this thing where I don't know why it is. I can't really explain it. It's just it's a block in my brain. I don't want anyone to clean my house other than me and Margaret who live there, right? Mm-hmm. And Margaret's mum, with the best of intentions, sometimes will land around to the house and just begin cleaning my house. Just kind of in a kind of a thinking she's helping way. And she is helping, I guess, but I just don't want her to do it, mm-hmm. right? And it really just grates me. And so it became a thing where like I just had to say to Mark, can you just say to your mum, just like, she's always welcome over to the house, just sit down and have a cup of tea and relax. It stresses me out having you coming around cleaning my house, like. So now, an addendum to this, we got a dog cam for the kitchen, right? A little doggy cam. Mm-hmm. And so, but there's a fun feature on it where you can talk through it, right? So I was going to be like, so she had said her mum was coming over like 8 or something for an hour. I was calling her at about 11. I fully expected her ma to be gone out of the house at this stage. But so I pulled in because I needed to get petrol, and I was like, I'll open up this here and I'll just be like, bah, or something like that on the thing, right? And then when I opened it, her mum was still there, and she was just leaving. I was just like, all right, I'll just leave it. Just talking more about it. I was just like, I won't bother. I could see she was like grabbing her bags and, you know, that sort of stuff, and they were like heading towards the door. And I was just like, it's all right. I'll just phone her in a couple of minutes here. And so I'd pulled into Tesco to get some diesel, and I was just waiting to see if like she needed me to grab on while it was still open. So I ring her and I go, hey, you all right? You all good? And she's like, aye, all good. Mummy didn't come around in the end, like. I go, all right, okay. I was like, so how was your night? And she's like, oh yeah, fucking wrecked on my feet here now, just fucking cleaning all night, like. And I go, all right, okay. I go, all right, okay, no bother.
What a ruse.
I go, all right, okay, no bother, no worries. So I said nothing, right? So I get into the house and I just sit down in the armchair and Margaret has this thing where she's like the worst liar. Like, it's so funny. Like, if I even just look at her like too long, she just starts like just laughing. What are you looking at me for? And so I was like, but so it had been lashing rain, right? And so I knew, like, time-wise, that her mum could have only been gone, like, in, like, the last 10, 15 minutes or something. It had been lashing rain during the course of my gig, but the place where my car the space for my car was still completely bone dry. Mm-hmm. I also clocked on the draining board.
Fucking Columbo here.
So I also, working my way backwards. Yeah. Already know.
But also have video evidence, but you know, all this other stuff as well, you know, it all adds up. Just one more thing, Mags. If that is your real name, why is the driveway dry?
So I go. And then on the draining board, Margaret, in all our years together, I've seen her drink. I could count one hand the amount of times I've seen her drink a hot drink.
Yeah.
She doesn't like tea or coffee. She likes a hot chocolate the other time, but really, like, she would never drink tea. But something a token of her mother being in the house is the entire kitchen will be clean, and there'll just be one cup on the draining board, upside down, washed and just on the draining board. But we never wash things and dry them on the draining board. We just rinse them and put them in the dishwasher. So like, I always know that her mum has been there if that's there as well. So I come in and sit down. It's just like, well, how's your night? You all good? She's like, yeah, just fucking play spotless, right? Yeah, I'm grand. Yeah, just fucking a bit sore now. Was up my feet there for a while, just cleaning. I'm like, oh, cool. I go, here, who was here? And she goes, what? I was like, well, just the driveway there is dry, like, in the wee spot where my car would be. I was like, it was lashing rain all night, like, so who was here? And she was like, oh yeah, no, Samantha came over there earlier. She just needed to drop something off and all. And I was like, all right, okay. Is she way along? And she was like, oh yeah, she just left before you got here. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, do you have a nice cup of tea earlier? And she was like, yeah, I did, I. And I just go, you know that little game I like to play sometimes whenever I try and surprise you on the camera? I was like, well, I did it earlier and your mum was here. And she was like, no, she wasn't. I was like, come on now. Like, I was like, for fuck's sake. It was so fucking... So I was like, why lie? There's no need to lie.
She's like, but that would mean, no, it couldn't possibly be, but you don't think.
I mean, the stakes are very low. It didn't really matter. It was so fucking funny.
And how long did she keep up there?
Oh, like 20 minutes.
No way.
Oh, yeah. But just...
It's a good way to get an evening in, I guess.
Yeah, there's nothing else to be at, just hassling a pregnant lady. But yeah, she's just like compounding lie upon lie, just like needless, just like little kind of like, oh yeah, no, I had a cup of tea. You never drink tea? Why did you want tea? I just felt like it. Okay, cool. It was really cold in here. Like everyone's wearing like barely anything because it's balmy warm.
Did Samantha have a cup of tea?
And you see, that would have been the thing to say, but nah, fucked up.
Shared the cup.
Yeah, just shared a wee cup. We both had one cup of tea. But sorry, to bring it back to the Glastonbury thing. I just wanted to say, right.
Put a bow on it.
The Bee Gees,
right?
Were there. Well, it was just what's the main guy? Robin Gibb. Who's the main guy that's still alive?
Claire Dalton. Get on the phone there, she'll know.
Class. I thought you were going to say it was Claire Dolan. I don't think she was in the Bee Gees, but he must have been like in his, I don't know, it was maybe about 5 or 10 years old, and he obviously is after getting on in years, and you can tell. I just wonder, like, there was a moment.
By the way he walks, he's a woman.
He's just trying his best to stay alive. But I wonder, is there a moment when you're on your later years in life and you're doing the kind of the greatest hits tours and the kind of like, showcase events and just turning up to the odd thing? At what stage do you regret having picked that octave to sing all your songs in? You know what I mean? Just wailing yourself out and you're just like... And sorry, just another thing as well. My dad then, while watching this, for some reason, kept saying... So it was like the greatest hits of Glastonbury, essentially. So it was like Dolly Parton and fucking... all the big... Lionel Richie was there. And for some reason, my dad kept going, I was just giving the people what they want. And I was like, why are you saying that? He was like, just big hits, like, that's what they're there for. Like, just giving the people what they want. I was like, yeah, I know. And he was, but it was like,
did you feel like it was a jab at you?
I don't know what it was for. I was just like, why are you
hearing me, son?
Why are you punctuating all of these with just like, because my mum would be like, I don't know. I was trying to remember like how it came up. My mum kept kind of, or my mum were kind of going like.
Did he get stung by a Bob Dylan concert?
Yes, he did.
That's what's happened.
Yeah, well, that is what happened. Yeah, but he also I watched The Godfather for the first time when we were down there, and it was just one of those movies on my list for years of just like, but trying to convince Margaret to be like, do you have 3 hours to watch a movie about a subject you don't have any interest in? But we stuck it on. And my dad does this thing, I don't even think he realises he's doing it. Just before any big moment of any classic movie that he's seen already, he will allude to what is about to happen. 100%. Like, so have you seen The Godfather?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm about to mention something that's going to happen in The Godfather. If, like me, you're one of the very few people who hasn't seen it. You know the bit where, you know the first bit where Don Corleone gets shot?
Yes.
He gets out of the car like in the
Yeah,
market
yeah,
bit or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
right? And so like, well before that's clear,
He'd need to be careful. That boy would need to be careful. He's going the right way about getting shot.
My
tell you.
dad's watching. He's just got like a fucking, you know, whiskey in his hand or whatever, and he just goes. My dad just goes, bang, bang, bang. And I was like, "Do you know you're doing that?" Or else like big famous lines. Like there was always one of the big famous lines in that, which it was something like a pop culture reference that I had heard for years, and it was the first time I'd actually seen it in the context. But
Don't ask me about my business. Is that the
say it was that, or what we would
or
say
like
next.
don't tell him outside the family what you're thinking. Make you an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah, let's pick one of them, right?
Okay.
So make me an offer you can't refuse. So before the person says that, my dad will mutter under his breath, "Gonna make you an offer you can't refuse."
Oh, I bet you was he come to me on the day of my daughter's.
No, it wasn't. It was
no.
like halfway through the movie. It was like
Luca Brazzi sleeps with the fishes.
yeah, something like that. One of those things. But my dad just says it before the character says it, and I'm like, why are you doing that?
I think you need to watch movies by yourself.
It was fucking. It was a real thing. Like, and I was like, I don't think you realize that you're even doing that, Dad. And he was like, what am I doing? I was like, you're telling me what they're about to say and do.
You can come over to my new house some evening and we'll watch The Godfather 2 together.
Please. Yeah, I haven't watched the second one.
It's amazing. Oh yes.
Let's
Here we
do it.
go. Let's see if we can read
Segment
this.
music. D. We don't know what it's called yet because
I-
he hasn't said it. It's Mick's segment.
Also, sorry, I fell asleep during it last night, so it mightn't be worth chatting about. But have you heard about the Tinder swindler? This thing on Netflix. This
No.
guy swindles this. He pretends to be like the son of a diamond tycoon and swindles these women.
Bit of
out
catfishing.
Yeah, but he's like, yeah, it's worth watching.
Okay.
So in the end, yes, it wasn't worth bringing up because I fell asleep 40 minutes in.
Now we're back to Mick's segment.
Right, this is the thing that I've been thinking about and ruminating on for some time. And I've been pitching the questions back and forth to my friend Hannah. And it's called the Internet Litmus Test. And the whole idea is these questions might sound abstract, but depending on the level
Of my familiarity with the
of
internet.
onlineness you are, they should seem like straight away you should be able to get them straight away.
Okay.
So I'm
So
gonna
this is to kind of like guess my internet savviness.
yeah. It's like the Know Your Meme website, but
Sure.
I'm just reading it out to you, kind of, I guess.
Sweet. Okay.
So I call it the Internet Litmus Test. We'll see how online you are. So
Okay.
I'll start with what I think is an easy one, right?
Okay.
So you met a celebrity, a recently deceased celebrity at a charity do once. What struck you about them?
I met
A recently deceased celebrity at a charity do once. What struck you about them?
Oh, wait. So sorry, your framing of the question caught me. They weren't dead when I met them.
Yeah, you once
So
met.
someone has just died, but
yeah.
previously I have met them at a charity
you've
do.
previously met a recently deceased celebrity at a charity do before.
They
What-
were kind. They were very attentive, and it was probably something to do with me.
The answer that we were looking for was they were down to earth and very funny. Surprisingly down to earth and very funny.
Okay.
That's an easy one. That's
Okay.
a Lemmy joke. Like that's anytime
So
somebody
we're off to a
dies.
bad start.
So anytime somebody dies, Lemmy went through a wild phase of posting like, I met such and such at a charity do once. Surprisingly down to earth and very funny.
Right.
Parodying those stupid
yeah.
fucking...
I know exactly. I know exactly the ones.
Right.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I think this one might be an easier one as well.
Okay.
What sort of summer was it, Nathan?
It was a hot summer.
You're
Unseasonably, unseasonably warm.
I'll tell you this, you have 2 out of the 3 words we're looking for.
A very warm.
No, I just give you, you have 2 words out of the 3 that we're looking for. You just said 2 of them.
It was
Time's ticking here, Nathan.
tick,
Come
tock,
on.
tick tock tick. It was on like the hottest summer on record. No,
Nathan, I'm going to ask you to put in a sound effect there because you did not get it. The answer I was looking for was it was a hot girl summer this summer.
oh, I've never heard that.
Well, you're not going to know the answer to the next question then.
What's that?
Hot girl summer.
Just
Google it, man. It was the vibe.
this segment might die on its own if you can't explain the answer.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I said it's not right, Nathan, and we've rushed this. I needed to do
It's like
some
the worst
research.
quiz show in the world right now. You're like, do you know the answer to this? And I'm like, no. And you're like, fuck, neither do I. You're on a genuine hunt for information right now. This isn't a quiz.
Do you know the answer to this? 'Cause I sure as hell don't.
This isn't a quiz. You just also would like to know.
No, Hot Girl Summer was the energy that the internet collectively decided that they were bringing into this year.
And how would you define hot girl summer?
Hot Girl Summer, it's confidence, it's getting railed in a sundress. That's another reference that I should have actually put down. What's the best way to get railed? In a sundress, Nathan. This is, I mean, that one's a very Twitter
Lift
heavy
up
one.
the
right?
back easy.
So,
Sorry.
what follows Hot Girl Summer?
Orange leaf winter.
Close. Christian Girl Fall. Now, that's
I can understand that.
that's
now.
an aesthetic you
that's
might
your
be
pumpkin
familiar with.
lattes,
Yes.
Your
scarves,
scarves,
brown leather boots, and blue jeans.
brown leather boots, blue jeans, kind of a horse riding jacket almost.
Living for Christ.
Living for Christ, our pal.
So I'll give you that one. Well, no, you
Okay.
didn't get it, but you got the reference. You understood the reference.
But we got to give the correct answer graphics some work to do.
I mean, this one, you're not going to get any fucking...
That's the spirit.
What fruit did they do surgery on?
Was it? Oh, is this gonna be one of these ones where I think it's a vegetable? Is it?
No, it's just
curveball?
see,
A tomato?
say, if you have no idea, just name a fruit.
Tomato?
It was a grape. They did surgery
yeah.
on a grape.
Oh, and they stitched it back together. Yeah, I did see that. I did actually.
Because
See
I
that.
didn't.
I
just
was
seen
trying to
the
remember
meme.
what it was. I remember the reason I said tomato was because I knew that it was something to do with like stitching,
Right.
and it was something that involved having like a really, really fine skin on the top layer of the fruit, and so grape would also.
I'm just gonna mark you down as 4 points for that because for knowing more about it than I did.
Sweet, sweet.
I just wrote. Look, I just wrote 4 and so 4. Now this one. Who painted the Mona Lisa?
Leonardo da Vinci.
No, the correct answer was Da Vinci. Do you know that one?
No,
It's a couple
but I
of-
can see how they got there.
A couple of TikTok twins. I think they might be like Scandinavian or something. They've like blonde hair and they like, it's the question comes up on TikTok and they both kind of cock their heads like dog and say, when it comes up it says Da Vinci and they're like, Da Vinci?
Leonardo. Okay, with that in mind, I feel like I could. Okay.
That one was from Hannah. She submitted a few of her own, which I had to just like. Someone was like, I can't ask him about that because I have no idea that apparently Demi Lovato has a twin sister that's been kept in the basement. I mean, all these things.
Never heard of that. Man.
How many of what animal should you be worried about running into your yard while your kids play?
How many of what animal should you be running into the yard? Can I phone a friend?
You can. So I'll tell you this.
Can you give me a clue?
It's a
it a
3-point breakdown. So
Is it a bird of flight?
I'm looking for the number, let's say the description of the animal's physical state
Okay.
and the animal itself. I don't know why I'm writing that down.
80 rabid ducks.
You're very close. That's the format that I'm looking for. Do
Yes.
you want to give it another go?
I'm just none of the answers.
Yeah, none of the answers are right.
Higher or lower on the number?
Lower.
31.
Well, okay, go.
31 mouth frothing,
Oh, so close. So close.
slack jawed.
Nathan, I'm going to tell you now.
Coyotes.
You've run out of time. The answer was 30 to 50 feral hogs.
Feral hogs.
Do you remember
knew
that?
this. I knew this.
It was responding to some sort of assault rifle legislation, I think. And the guy came in with this hypothetical proposal. What am I supposed to do with the 30 to 50 feral hogs that might break into my yard? Or how am I supposed to kill them?
You see, was this held up as an like a ridiculous kind of answer as like by people who were against gun legislation?
Yes.
That were like, look at this moron
Yes.
who thinks. See, there's a video I watched once that I'll send you, which I think you should watch, about the feral hog problem in America.
Well, that's the thing.
By
like,
a guy who I would genuinely like. He would be very much on the side of the people who are probably against the gun advocacy, but it is not something to be poo-pooed. It seems they are out there and they are feral. And what are we going to do about the feral hogs? We can't get them with bows and arrows.
how are we going to kill
And
them when they're in the yard with the kids? The
be-
bloody kids!
They'll be too close to be fucking looking at the butcher knife with them either. Like, so now on the other
And you
side,
can't eat them because they're feral.
you can
Oh, can you?
give it a go.
Who am I kidding? All right, that's why they're feral. I took a bite out of them.
That is actually. So apparently that's a result of like they were brought in, like not native to America, but it's like a problem that's big in America, like in the kind of more like countrysides of America. But apparently it's because they took something to do with like in all the parks and stuff when they've basically like removed things like wolves and all that sort of stuff to kind of make it safer for people on hikes. But it's like really fucked up the natural ecosystem where like things that were kept in order by other natural pecking order stuff. Why am I doing this a lot? Like
Once again, humanity proving that we are the virus.
we are once after all. Proven
Not to
be.
sound like a fucking dystopian antagonist from some fucking
I
Blade Runner
I don't know.
rip-off movie. Nathan, who, according to the internet, is the throat goat? Now, if you'd like me to clarify what the throat goat means, I can.
I would like you to.
It's somebody who is exceptional for the practice of a particular sexual act, Nathan. I don't want to get explicit because this game show is a family show. There's kids in the audience.
That's true. We couldn't possibly say blowjob. Or deep throating skills.
That's what we're
have
getting at.
heard. I know
Yeah.
this reference. I just can't remember the name of the person. Someone is the throat goat, and I remember they were guest on one of the podcasts I listened to.
I don't think they were.
No, there was a girl that was like on TikTok or something, and she was like mental, and she was just I think she went viral for all these mental videos of like,
I don't think
is this not who I'm thinking of?
But
It was
keep going.
It was really funny. They got this girl on, and they basically tracked her down. She was just like one of these random viral videos that kept popping up, and then but she was like it was like something to do with like a load of NBA players or something. Am I anywhere close?
No.
No? You tell me then.
No. Sorry. The throat goat is Nancy Reagan, who was famous
Nothing to do with NBA players then. Sorry.
famous in old Hollywood for giving the best.
Shocking people out.
Yeah.
Is
Who
that
then
right?
later in life became an emblem of kind of conservatism when
Hilariously.
Ronald Reagan was in office.
This is
and
the
they were-
problem that conservatives make a lot of the time is they paint themselves into such a corner with like their hard moral stances on stuff, but then they are the most prone to the like it's seemingly to like the wild sex parties.
Well, then, like, I mean, yeah.
which there is no problem with.
Yeah.
But they're
They're the ones who are saying that there's a problem with
but
it.
then
It's
here's
like,
my theory then though is that's what makes their dick hard is it being wrong, and they're worried that if the world gets too liberal and accepting, then how are they gonna reach orgasm ever again?
conservatives, the real freaks.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fucking boring if all this stuff that I like doing is acceptable now.
Yeah. Well, apparently, I mean, it's unsurprising. All the scandalous stuff that they were doing around the Hollywood lots those days. Can't even imagine the half of it, Nathan. But I'll end
I
on-
never heard that.
No?
I also now want to follow up and find that other thing for you. I can send it to you so you know I'm not absolutely mental. But there was this mental story of this woman who was just, I think it might have been like Snapchat or something, but she went viral because like, you know, like not on purpose, but just people shared because she was just constantly putting up these videos of herself just being like, not of her doing the act, but just after the fact, just bragging about how amazing she was at it. and just be like, and then tomorrow I've got this person
We've
lined
got
up.
this guy lined up and this
like
guy lined
mental.
up.
It was absolutely mental. They either got her on the phone or they got her like to come into the studio. It was like really old podcast, but it was really
I'm
funny.
guessing that was some sort of Howard Stern show, was it, Nathan?
No, it was your mom's house. It was your mom's house podcast.
I'm going to end with my favourite question.
Okay.
What would you and your friends do with E.T. the alien?
I don't know. I would.
The correct answer is, Nathan, you and your friends would kill him with hammers.
I was trying to think of something really sweet. Oh my
That's
God.
that's a famous tweet that was posted and deleted shortly after, but not before somebody had screenshot it and has become a meme in itself now. If you search the words "kill ET with hammers" into Twitter, you will get thousands of return. Like you'll get a big return.
Why? Just somebody.
Somebody just said it, tweeted it.
If I
deleted
saw,
it.
if me and my friends came across an alien, we'd probably just kill it with hammers. Yeah.
And he said, "I'll tell you that much."
That's why they take our form, and they are among us. Have you got fluff on it? You do.
So Nathan, that was the Internet Litmus Test. Let's check.
And if
the
you
score.
sign up to our Patreon right now, you can get this piece of fluff mailed.
Let's check the scores on the board. You're up there with the leaderboard, just behind myself. Actually, I'm just behind you because you knew more. You knew, so you got 4 points for knowing that answer that I didn't know.
Okay.
So yeah, you've leapfrogged me in the board. As you can see there, your prize is a dishwasher.
Don't worry about the sofa. The sofa's yours.
I'm just going to keep pointing here and just keep you piling on the graphics, right?
Yeah.
You can just go have fun with it, have nuts with it, cut wherever you want until it fucking... I'm fed up now.
And I'm going to put none in there.
Yeah.
I thought the threshold for the style of things you were going to ask was going to be incredibly lower.
So did I. That's why I was like, this could be a disaster. What did you think it was?
You should
gonna
put
be?
in a couple of softballs.
Like what?
Like, what does TDLR mean?
Oh, right. But everybody knows
But
that.
some people don't.
How? Who doesn't know that? Everybody knows.
Well, we'd find out if we asked enough people. No, but I was just as an example.
Yeah,
I thought like that maybe, but to be fair, that wouldn't be funny.
Yeah, there's more nonsense than this.
Yeah. I thought it was a genuine test, and I maybe get some sort of an accreditation at the end of it for my
Completed the internet.
my preparedness. For
Well,
the
the good
internet.
news is I spaffed my wad with that, so I've no more. I've no more. That's the game done.
A fun way to a fun way to pivot that into a regularly occurring segment, maybe to we won't use Reddit. Do you use Reddit still? No. Well, you could, and then just.
But I won't.
Okay.
I'm joking.
We'll just not do it then.
Say your line. Say your line. Well, I'll just go fuck myself then.
I'll just go fuck myself then. No, I was gonna say before, like the night before coming here every week, you could whatever subreddits. I imagine we would roughly end up following roughly the same ones, or we could engineer it that way at the very least, and then sort by top of all week, and then just find the most ridiculous things out of that and see if and then it could be a thing we could use to introduce clips or something. I can edit all this out.
Television producer in the making.
But you know what I mean? The lads,
Here, how long have we been
the
going?
lads do the internet. Yeah, that was something that occurred to me there that I have no idea. Oh, my legs. 1,667 beats. Bars of music. We're nearly there. So in another effort to, I feel like we could eat up at least 5 minutes
Let's do it.
with some of these. So
Let's eat some time.
you know we had discussed basically like let's try and get some segments on the go, and then I find sometimes that the path of least resistance, or like sometimes the most obvious answer is the correct answer, and I just thought, well, why don't I just Google good questions to ask on your podcast
Right.
and just see what comes up? Is there anything good in there? Some of them were decent enough. I wouldn't have thought of them. Lot of advice about how to structure your questions, I noticed. So there's some faux pas Nothing too personal right off the bat.
Yeah. Okay.
That sort of stuff.
Yeah. Like we're only 4 years into this. So you don't want to catch me off guard.
Have you ever watched The Room?
What, the Tommy Wiseau?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favourite little moments in that is when he's sitting having like, is it like he's having coffee or something with Mark, of course, and he says he's talking about work or something, and Mark says, he just asks him like a completely acceptable question. He just like, so I can't remember the context, but so Tommy's saying like he's working in whatever the fuck it is that he's working in, and Mark goes,
Isn't it the bank? I think he's working at the bank.
Can you tell me how's your day? Can you tell me about that client you're working on with the bank or whatever? And then Tommy goes, no, that's too personal. Anyway, Mark, how's your sex life? Written entirely unironically. One of the best pieces of cinema of all time. I love this question because I feel like to put it down on a list of great questions is just
says a lot about whoever's collating the
it's
list.
just such a cop out. Imagine asking this at the end of an interview. What question do you wish I had asked, and how would you answer it?
That's like oh my god! Like here, I'm gonna put all the effort, or you do my job
Come
for
up with
me.
a question and tell me.
Wrap it up, make it tight, make it snappy. We're gonna end on this. I'm actually gonna go for a piss. You just kind of.
How would you answer that if you were on like in a situation where if you went into like ATL or something or like any BBC, but like you're live on air, like you can't be funny about it, and you actually have to be like, right, I'm actually promoting something here, and I have to be genuine with my answer here, and fucking
that's a really
Jerry Kelly turns around to you and says, what question did you wish I had asked, and how would you answer it? You've got 30 seconds to the news.
Jerry, well, I wish you had have asked, will it be okay at the end of the interview to say to me, I'm going to get you to ask your own question for yourself, because I feel really caught off guard here, and I mean the number is counting down very fast in the news there. I mean it's the top of the hour, Jerry, we go live to the news. There's been 4 dead in the collision.
Which brings me to my next question. How do you cope with stress?
I go head in, all or nothing, baby.
How do you cope with stress? Do you have like a thing you like? I feel like you can answer it two ways. You could look at the question two ways. When you're stressful, how would you rate your handling of stress? Or else, how do you when you notice that you're stressed and you need to de-stress?
Honestly, I don't get as stressed as I used to anymore, because Orla's very perceptive, and can see the early signs of like burnout, which usually causes me to stress because I just end up taking on loads of stuff and trying to get it all through it all. So I'm a wee bit more mindful of that. I guess there's your answer then. Just be more mindful of the workload, and also I've realized that you have more time than I have way more time than I ever allow myself to think I have. You're like, oh, everything needs done.
If we go then to the other route, then when you realize you're stressed, how would you rate your general, like when it's too late for mindfulness? What would you say are some hallmarks of you being very stressed? You didn't know there was going to be a test.
I would just get really frazzled and start like. Do you remember the night? Actually, do you remember the phone call that we had a few weeks back that caused some friction between us? About the Instagram post.
Yes.
That had came at a moment where I was incredibly stressed. So that was, you were dealing with me at a moment of intense stress there. So you got first-hand experience of how it manifests.
Yeah. I notice myself that I definitely have a tendency to probably make all my problems everybody else's fault, I would say. But also things that like would otherwise not really matter. I have like a control thing, so like it's like if I'm really stressed about something, I want there to be a plan. I want everyone to be as concerned about the problem as I am, and it really fucking annoys me when they're not. when people went like the worst, which is I think the times that we've ever butted heads has been when I am really worried or concerned about a problem needing a solution, and you just go like you because you're so different in how you like, probably the healthier way of just going, don't worry about it, we'll figure it out. But in the moment, I'm like, I need you to make me feel better by meeting my stress level so that I don't feel like I'm being unreasonable.
That's very insightful to your own kind of.
I'm a pretty insightful guy.
We're brilliant, aren't we?
We are brilliant.
We are the world.
I am the
person.
children. I like this one too. We maybe finish up with this. How would your parents describe what you do?
Oh, fuck. Badly.